And good evening. Now at 5, the Final Four is set. Basketball fanatics are making their way to the Alamo City from across the country as we speak. Florida, Auburn, Duke, and the University of Houston are warming up to see who will be the March Madness champion. We have team coverage tonight here on KENS 5 as we look ahead to the games and the Final Four Fan Fest. Sue Kalberg is getting a preview of the festivities happening in downtown. You see her up there, and down here, Nate Ryan. And we're going to start out with Nate. There are so many storylines with these four teams, Nate, including the coaches who know each other like family.
Yeah, that's right, Sarah. The first time we've had all four #1 seeds in the Final Four for the first time since 2008. That was also right here in San Antonio. But the first matchup in our national semifinal, the SEC showdown, Florida and Auburn. Auburn head coach Bruce Pearl will be coaching in his second Final Four. It'll be the first Final Four for Florida head coach Todd Golden. So instead of rather opposing each other on sidelines as they're going to do on Saturday night, Todd Golden had an interesting vantage point because he used to be on the same sideline as Pearl, the guy he's going to be coaching against on Saturday night. Back in 2014, a young Todd Golden accepted an assistant coach's role as director of basketball operations at, you guessed it, Auburn, where Pearl was the head coach. Golden spent 3 seasons on the bench next to Pearl before moving on to the University of San Francisco, where he accepted a head coaching role. Fast forward a couple years. Now he's with Florida. Now he's in the Final Four. Golden is actually best friends with Pearl's son, Steven, who's also an assistant on that Auburn coaching staff. Earlier this afternoon, both coaches talked about the ironic bond between the two now that they're going to be duking it out Saturday night.
A little surreal, to be honest, to be able to be here at the Final Four. That in itself is a little surreal, but, you know, playing on Saturday against one of your biggest and best mentors, you know, not exactly something you expect, you know, when the season starts. And, you know, I know he's incredibly proud of me. I'm incredibly grateful for him and his family and the opportunities that they provided for me. I would not be here, you know, if I didn't have my relationship and experience, you know, working with and being around Bruce and his son, Steven. And it's a little bit of a full circle moment.
Even though I only had Todd for 2 years, he helped lay the foundation. He helped get some of the recruiting started, which really helped us in our 4th year. Todd and Megan had just gotten married, so they were newlyweds, and they had their first son while he was at Auburn. I was one of the first to hold his son. So there's a very close connection. And all the while, he becomes best friends with his fellow assistant, Steven Pearl. And the relationship has lasted.
And now the two are going to be coaching against each other for a spot in the national championship game. Just one of the many storylines we have between these four teams. Florida and Auburn, they played in the regular season. It was the Gators who came out on top. That was in Auburn's home gym. We'll see how it plays out on Saturday night. Duke and Houston, the other semifinal. We'll talk much more about both games all the way leading up to tip-off.